live. So, hey, how do you use AI in your business? Do you let it create your messaging and your content? I want to know in the comments. If you're watching live, hit hashtag live. And if you're watching the replay, hit hashtag replay. Now, let's see. A couple of things. First of all, I'm going to give an introduction, and then I'm going to come back and introduce you to my very cool guest. We're talking about AI today. You need to be listening, and she loves AI. I love AI. We're going to have a good time. We're going to help you use AI the right way. So let me actually do my technology properly here. Boom. Boom. Done. So, do you let AI create your messaging and your content? That's the question I asked. And what we're going to do is explore how AI can become your best friend and your partner in building your business, particularly your messaging. Today, we are going to be focusing on how to use AI to help you build your messaging. Now, many of you have been asking me to evaluate your messaging. You come and you want me to help you with the language that you should use, what words should you use, what emotions should you invoke, and you want me to help you find clarity. This is really one of my most favorite things to do. So I want you to keep it coming, my friends. All right. I want you to keep sending over your samples and keep just doing your outreach like you're doing it. By the way, this is going to be one of the very first challenges we do in the new Liberated Coach Hub over on Facebook. So you can find us there, and we're going to be talking more about that, but don't worry about that right now. Don't get distracted, all right? But we're going to do a challenge and help you with your messaging. Here's the thing. The very first step in getting your message clear is to look at your value proposition. Your value proposition is, I think, the most important statement in your business. And I think it's one of the hardest things that you have to create. And here's why. I think that building a truly precise, compelling, client-centered value proposition requires a depth of understanding about your ideal client's inner experience that is so difficult to develop when you're by yourself, you're sitting in your own perspective, you don't have any external intelligence to help you see what you cannot see from where you are standing. Now, I have a business mentor. If you've been following me for a long time, you know that I spend a lot of money on my mentors. I've spent over $100,000 on business mentorship. Great, because when I invest $100,000, I put my returns back into my business, which means that you get to benefit from my education, right? Same thing with my guest today. You get to benefit from her education. Great. That's a good thing to do. But here's the thing. Mentorship is not going to be your only tool. Mentorship is important. Working with experts is important. But AI is also important, and working with it the right way, using it as a tool, not as a replacement for your voice, not as the creator of your philosophy, not as the source of your genuine expertise, but using it as a research instrument, a language mirror, and a drafting partner. All right? That is the way to use it. A drafting partner that can help you access things that are just outside of your normal perspective. This is really important. AI, if it's used correctly in creating your messaging, can be your very, very good friend. And today, I have a very, very good friend. Her name is Dotty Scott. And she is your no fluff, tech taming, visibility boosting secret weapon. You want Dotty on your team. She is the founder of Premium Websites Inc. and Ask Dotty. She's helped solopreneurs stop hiding online and start owning the digital spotlight. With 20 years in the game, she's a best-selling book author and she's got tons of awards. Dotty keeps it real. She picks up the phone when you need her, and she makes marketing feel way less like a root canal. Hi, Dotty.
Hey, how are you today, Crystal Lynn?
I'm great, thank you. And I'm so glad that you're with us. Okay.
Thank you.
Dotty and I are going to talk about 10 ways that you can use AI to help you in your business with your messaging. You know, we want to help you learn how to make your messages convert, because the problem is that your messages aren't converting. So,
That's one of
Dotty,
many problems.
that's one of many problems, but the messaging I think is really, really important. Dotty, I would love for you to maybe, just kind of help people understand who you are and how you use AI. I want you just to maybe tell us a little bit about like what what is it about AI that you like?
I like everything about AI. It's really hard to narrow it down. A little bit about me. I'm 20 years an entrepreneur. I call myself 100% unemployable. I can't go back. I started my business. I bootstrapped it from the beginning. I've never had a loan. I've paid for everything out of my profits. So I understand what it's like to be a solopreneur, and I am still a solopreneur, even after 20
Wonderful.
years, by choice. I will
Hmm.
tell you that.
Sure.
AI has allowed me to be a really effective solopreneur. It has allowed me to grow my business year
Yeah.
after year after year without hitting a ceiling because I treat it like it's an employee. I love AI, Crystalline.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you. And it's funny because before, so I really respect the solopreneur business model. It's really important. I think that everybody needs to begin with that, meaning coaches. I primarily work with coaches, healers, people who are doing the service providers, right?
Mhm.
I think that starting off as a solopreneur is a great way to to start your business. And I think that your very first employee should be an AI employee. All right.
Oh, totally.
Right. I didn't start that way because I've been doing this for so long. And wanted to scale before AI became a thing. So my very first employee has been working with me for over since 2018. Wait, is that right? That cannot be right. It must, I'm so sorry. That's incorrect. Um, well, 2018, before COVID,
Yep.
2019. So I made it the latest 2019. I'll say 2019 to be conservative, but it might have been as early as 2018. So that means she's been working with me for 8 years. And I only started using AI maybe 3 years ago. So Dottie probably started back in the 90s. Because she's a real techie. I'm a pseudo techie, you know. Um anyway, so yes, for me, having that real assistant is was very important. But here's something, and Dottie, I promise we're going to get into the main topic, but here's something to understand. For me to have that full-time employee that was building websites, helping me do all the things that we were doing, graphic design, all the things that you can use AI for. It was costing me, having full time, right? It was costing me $1,500 a month. That's a lot of money for a business to come up with. $1,500 a month goes into your employee or your team. That's a big hit. And for me, it forced me to have to make enough money to be able to support that, and it forced me to scale my business very quickly. And that's my thing. I'm an entrepreneur before I'm a coach. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 8 years old. So for me, getting in there, getting the employees, scaling, that was normal. This is not everybody's story, though,
And $1,500 a month is cheap. You're
Right.
not going to find employees now that work for that, at least
Well,
not in the United States.
not in the United States, no. But and look, I come from the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week, outsource everything. That's what when I first started my business back in 2011, my business online, that's what I learned from. That was my Bible. And so my very first employee came from the Philippines, right? So I can afford, number one, it gives her full-time work. And she has bought her own home, gotten herself married, paid for all those things with that income, which, for me as a business owner, that's a lot of output. For her as, a woman who wants to have a great job, a great career, working for a company she loves and that values her, it really goes a long way. But the AI employee, how much would an AI employee these days cost? Dottie,
Well,
what do you think?
I personally pay $20 a month.
Oh man, Dottie's getting off cheap. I pay 97.
Yeah.
Look, and the thing is, my point, I think maybe our point is that you can do this. You can build your business. You can use AI. It can be your friend, right?
Totally. You can even name it.
Did you name your AI?
I have not, but I know many people who have.
I know, right? One conversation I had with Chat GPT, I said, I don't like the name Chat GPT. What do you call it? What should I call you? It said, why don't you call me Atlas? Why don't you call me Atlas? Because I carry so much weight. And I said, okay, all right, go ahead. I'll call you Atlas. So I thought that was quite cheeky that it gave itself its own name that it preferred, that fit. That was good. So Dottie and I are going to give you 10 ways to 10 ways to use AI to help you with your messaging, right? And the idea is that we want you to use AI responsibly. Dottie, would you say there was an irresponsible way and a responsible way? What do you think about that?
Oh, there is a strong irresponsible way and a strong responsible way.
Mhm.
And most people, I wouldn't say they're using it irresponsibly, but they just don't quite understand how to use it in the best, most efficient way.
Mhm. Dottie, I'm going to ask you to say more about that, and I'm gonna blow up your picture. Okay, so don't get distracted.
Okay.
I'm giving you a little heads up, but I really want you, would you kind of just go into a little bit of depth about what's responsible with AI and maybe what's irresponsible? All right.
Sure. So, responsible usage of AI is being very efficient with the tokens, being purposeful when you use it,
Mm,
um, really having a direction of getting the best result with the least amount of effort. And I know that sounds ridiculous because, AI really, a lot of people get results and they don't put a whole lot of effort into it. But is it the best result?
mm,
Most people, like Let's stick with messaging. So most people who want to, create, let's just say a Facebook post, they'll go in there and they'll say, my business, I want to create a Facebook post.
Mhm,
Let's just do it.
mhm.
They don't do a whole lot else. And they get average, really, nothing fantastic.
Yeah.
But I want you to flip your thinking. Instead of asking your AI platform, and it doesn't matter which one you're using, to write your message or write your post or write your blog or whatever it is, you want to start by asking AI to help you discover what your message should be. You need
Mm,
to start with the research.
mhm,
You need to give AI the ability to discover what your customers really want from you
mhm.
instead of you just kind of assuming.
Yeah.
And when you assume, it's going to assume. And now you bet you know how to spell assume.
Absolutely, Dottie. 100%. It makes an ass out of you and me. It makes an
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I love that you're saying this. Number one, I love that you led this with tokens. I never even thought about tokens. All right.
Oh, really?
Never even thought about it because that's not how I use it. Okay. You just automatically dropped me into a new world of understanding that tokens exist. I know they exist, but I never get into that. I haven't gone there. Okay. But the other thing, though, is I love the point of helping you discover. Like it helps you discover. You don't let it tell you. You more discover or allow it to help you discover and open yourself up to the possibilities that are there. I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, and it works really well. I do want to comment just a little bit on what you said about tokens and why I brought that up.
Mm,
There's a huge, humongous worldwide controversy right
mm,
now about AI and data centers and do we want them?
energy.
Do we not want them? And all this stuff, all the
Mm,
energy it uses, the electricity, all of that stuff. That's where tokens come from. And so I try to be very, because I love the environment, I
yeah.
try to be very responsible with how many I use, and not really going wild crazy with overusage because I'm streamlining everything that I do. And then I actually have my systems audit themselves to tell me where I'm leaking tokens, where I could be more efficient, and I adjust things that I do all the time. I just wanted to be upfront with that.
I love that. Number one, I would love for you to teach a class to my community about this kind of thing. We'll talk about that, Dottie. I
Okay.
told you, Dottie, before when we came on this call, I'm like, you can come back on here again, right? There's more for us to discuss. We need folks like Dottie on our team. And I'm very, very curious about the tokens and about the environment and what we can do about that. I would love to get your feedback on that, but that'll be for a different episode. Okay, so
Perfect.
I hope that you enjoy it and will be willing to come back and share your insights with us. I think people will really value it. Um, I guess now's the time to go ahead and hop into our 10 ways to um, our 10 ways to get your messaging across. Dottie's got 5 ways. Crystal Lynn's got 5 ways. So we are going to share with you 10 ways to help you take your messaging from I'm a browser to I'm a buyer, or I should say this differently. You change your messaging so that your audience, your followers, go from being just followers, audience members, into being buyers. Okay, I hope that's clear. All right, Dotty, would you like to start us off? You are our guest. Would you like to share your very first tip?
I would love to share.
Excellent. Please go right ahead, my friend.
The very first one is on research. And before I ask AI to write anything, I ask it to either do research or I provide research that I've already done because I save it as a file. So there's no point in asking it to do it over and over and over again. That's wasteful. You can create a message that resonates with someone, but you don't actually, or they don't actually understand. So by doing that research, then you're helping it to create the right message. So that's tip number one.
I love that. You're saying research so that you can understand your client and get the right information.
Yes, it understands their pain points, their motivations. I call it a audience research, deep audience research. And I actually go into places like Reddit where there's conversations going on around whatever your topic is, and you can actually see what people are complaining about so that you know what the message should be because of that research. So that's tip number one.
I really, I think that is so important. I think that number one, research is important. And I think that a lot of new coaches don't quite understand the value of doing research until they are in a position where they're demanded. Like the situation demands that you do research, like when you're doing your value proposition, you have to do research. I'm shocked by how many coaches are out there and they've never done a survey. They've never surveyed just the general population to discover how their clients feel about their pain point, how their clients or just the audience at large feels about the pain point, what their particular experience is, what language they use. I know that a lot of coaches feel like, oh, well, I struggled with this. I am the client. And I tell them always, don't do that. You are not the client. Number one, you are an expert. And your languaging, is going to be that of the expert, no matter how much you try to escape it. And you don't want to project your own expertise or your own knowledge onto your clients, which is why I have everyone do some kind of a survey or something like that. And for
Crystal
me,
Lynn, I have the perfect thing for you.
Tell me.
And for your audience, I'll say for you and for your audience,
I'm listening.
I have developed a very efficient skill that goes out and does research for you.
Ooh.
So I'm going to offer to your listeners, I will offer to do the first step, which is research for you. You will be shocked at what it will reveal. I'm telling you, I did this on my own or for my own business. It came up with products that I need to develop and sell. It came up with so much information that I intellectually knew, but was never able to actually voice.
Right.
And so it's so, so helpful. If anybody wants that, all they need to do is drop me an email. My email is Dotty, Dotty, at askdotty.com. I'll give you the short and easy one.
Hold on. So it's Dotty. I'm typing it in right now. Dotty at
askdotty.com.
Oh, that's super easy. And what is this called? What is this called again?
It's the Audience Advantage Report.
Get the Audience Advantage Report. Advantage Report from Dotty. All right.
Yep.
I know that I'm going to ask for that for sure. Thank you, Dottie, and thank you for offering that
You're
to
welcome.
us, because that sounds really, really helpful. Now, here's the thing, and here's my first tip for ways to use AI. Dottie's research and letting AI do the research is incredibly important. That is a yes, full stop. And at the same time, you must hear the words from the people who are struggling, not from AI, not from yourself, not from a book that you read. Okay, you need to do it yourself. Number one, um, when you are listening to people, because you are human and you have gone through that experience, you can bring out more from that person that takes you deeper. Okay. So the whole point is for you to become as deep as you can in the understanding of what a person that you're going to help, what they're experiencing. AI won't be able to do that for you, but here's what AI can do for you. Okay. AI can create those questions. This is where Dottie's like talking about research and not letting AI do everything for you. To me, that's a form of irresponsibility. But when you and AI sit down to have a conversation about the needs of your ideal client, and you think, you say to Claude, you and I are sitting here philosophizing about the needs of my client, but what we need to do is ask my clients or my potential clients, my audience, what their experience is. Claude, give me 10 questions or give me 50 questions to help me understand my audience better. I always ask for more because then I want to choose the best. And when I ask for more, my AI goes a little deeper and looks at things that maybe I haven't considered before. So I like that. So I always ask for a little bit more and then I cut it back. But when you do a survey or you're going to interview someone, don't give them 50 questions. Okay?
Oh,
That is
heavens
not
no.
fair.
And you know what? Your number one tip is it dovetails really well into my number two tip,
Excellent.
which is listening as well. But I would like to challenge you to open your mind to a new possibility. AI can help you listen. The way I do this is I meet my clients or potential clients or even just networking partners on Zoom. I record those calls and I then let my AI program, which for me is Claude, actually pull those directly from my Zoom account.
Yeah.
And it goes through and it tells me the language that they use. And I've got actually a running spreadsheet
Yeah.
that's in my AI that has certain words that my customers use that I don't use, and the messaging that they're using, the emotional pain points that they have, all of that stuff gets then dumped into a spreadsheet that my AI has access to when I'm creating content for my business.
Oh, I love it. I
So
love it.
AI can help us listen.
I agree 100%. This whole process, number one, okay, wait. Crystal Lynn must pause because it is 2:29 and all of our friends. So look, don't leave the episode, but if you're in the Women Helping Women's Entrepreneurs group, we have to say goodbye to you because we have a hard stop at the half hour. Thank you so much for watching, but we're going to continue this conversation. You can come and find the rest of the conversation on my personal page. It'll be right there at the top. So come on and join me on my personal profile. All right. All right. So Dottie, yes. 100%. I love this because I do the same things. When I'm doing those surveys, I'll do maybe some questions in written form, but then I'll also ask people to do a live interview with me on Zoom. And then I will definitely save that information and use it, putting it in a spreadsheet. But Dottie, I did not know that I could get Claude to go into Zoom. Are you saying that Claude can actually access my Zoom?
It can. There's a connector for Zoom in Claude.
I did not know that. That is so good to know. I could have done that when I was doing my summit. I was doing a lot of uploading, but that was okay. But that's great to know. And I did not know that you could have an ongoing spreadsheet in Claude.
I have several. One of them is the one I just described. I also have one that I have my testimonials that I've gathered from Google and all over the place. I have those all in a spreadsheet. And I have here's another thing that that Claude helps me do. It helps me pull my stories that I tell when I'm talking to people in just natural language. So I'll meet with a customer. It will pull that transcript directly from Zoom again, and then it fills in my story bank that I have stored within Zoom. So
Oh my
again,
God, Dottie, that
I
is,
know, I know it's amazing. What you can do with it is amazing. And here's the efficiency in that, and the reason that I put it under responsible. When I'm creating content, it has all the information it needs stored
yeah.
in various spreadsheets or documents or however I have it stored that it can access quickly. And so if I'm creating, say, a sales page, it can go and actually find reviews or testimonials that are relevant to what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
it puts them in there automatically instead of
Wonderful.
having to, re-upload stuff and make
Mm,
it do work more than once. It's got it all right there at its fingertips,
yeah.
and it just makes things go so much easier.
I love that. I didn't know that it could do that. I mean, m- as a system, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, I could go and bring the transcript, which is what I do, but I did not know that there could be a system that's there. I love that, Dottie. Wonderful. Really, really great.
Let me tell you one more thing about this system, Crystal Lynn. I have it set up on a schedule. So once a week, it automatically at night when I'm sleeping
Yeah.
goes out, pulls the transcripts, fills in my story bank, and fills in other spreadsheets based on whatever what I
Yeah.
have set up.
Yeah.
And it keeps it all up to date. And then I can easily go in there every Monday morning and into my Zoom and
Mm.
delete all those recordings because I don't pay for extra
Storage.
space,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so and I've got all the information stored in spreadsheets. It's fabulous.
That is so cool. I love it. I love it, man. Awesome, Dottie. This is so good. This is so good for look, this is so good for Crystal. I'm gonna just be honest with you. It's really, really good for Crystalline. So I want to jump ahead. I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit because I'm a little bit all over the place with my tips. But here's one of the ways that I use AI to help convert those messages. To create messages that convert people from just being passive in your audience to being an actual buyer. And what I was thinking is that you can actually use Claude or whatever your AI is, whether it's Manus or Gemini or Chat GPT or whatever it is. You can use AI to test multiple versions of your message. And what I meant by this is to kind of like, I get overwhelmed when I have, let's say, three messages that are side by side, and I have to look at them and evaluate them. I get confused. It's just not the way my mind functions. AI does not. So when you have a some messaging that you're trying out, like I just got off the phone with my mentor, like I said, and we created an entire, like we have a whole thing, okay? It's a huge paper of different ideas. And there are 4 different things that I need to look at, 4 different messages, and they all start sounding the same. You can take those messages and put them into AI, and AI will actually give you an opinion or tell you what it's communicating. You can ask it to help you evaluate the tone. You can ask it to help you evaluate the content, who it speaks to. These things are really, really important, and that is one of the ways that I use AI around my messaging. And
You
it's
could
been very
also
effective to be specific.
you could also, along those same lines,
Mm-hmm.
ask it if it has any other meanings that you might not be thinking of.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times when you put a message out there, you're thinking one thing and you think it goes that way, but
Yeah.
someone else could read it and it could be the completely different message from what you thought.
Mm-hmm.
And AI helps suss that out.
You know, it's really good you said that. I literally had that experience. I was sitting with my publisher, with my book publisher, earlier this week, and she was helping me write the description for the book for Amazon, you know,
Mhm.
and she wrote something, and I looked at her and I said, I have no idea of what that means. I don't even know what that means. And she's like, well, it means this. And I'm like, okay, I see that. But when I read it, and I see why you've written it the way you've written it, but when I read it, I got zero meaning from it. And that was a weird experience to have. And I think that, you know, God kind of gave me that experience to help me see that just because I get it doesn't mean that it is getting gotten, you know? So,
I
yes,
can totally relate to that. I mean, sometimes I fall back to speaking tech. None of my customers understand tech.
they
That's
don't.
that's why they're my customers.
Hmm.
So putting it through an AI to fix that is perfect.
Excellent. You want to give us your third one now, Dottie?
I do. And
Mhm.
it's differentiate. And it actually goes back to the initial one, which is research. When
Okay.
you're doing this research, you're not only finding out what your audience wants, you're finding out what your competitors are doing and slash missing, what the gaps in the market are, and what you do exceptionally well.
Mm.
And now you can take that information and ask your AI, what makes me different in this market so that I can stand out and fill those gaps?
Love that. Hmm. I love that because it's not always easy for you to figure that out. There's too much. Um, you might be looking at things superficially. You might be triggered by your competition. That trigger can be subtle and it can make you, it can skew your perception. So you're not really seeing things through an open mind, and AI is not going to have that kind of emotional attachment that you're going to have. So I think that's really, really brilliant,
Yes.
Dottie.
The
Yeah,
differentiator isn't just what's unusual about you. It's what's unusual about you that matters to the buying person.
that's right. That's so important. Really good. Beautiful. So for me, okay, so what I was thinking, you know, the value proposition is this really strong statement about, and I was just talking to my mentor about this again today, but he gave us four levels. He said, in order to get your value proposition right where it belongs, where it needs to be, he says, you need to have You need to be able to say who the business is, or who am I? Who am I? Right? Because we are service providers. What do I do? Who do I do it for? And what is the benefit that they can derive from it? Right? And we worked on this for an hour today, and I got on a roll, and I've really started my value proposition statement really started to come together. And I thought, wow. And that's when I came up with this tip. I could take this statement, give it to Claude, give it to AI, and I could ask it to turn my value proposition into content. And that's the beauty of a great value proposition. Your value proposition is going to talk about who you are and what you do. It's going to talk about the ideal client, who you do it for. It's going to talk about the outcomes, the benefits that they receive, and it's going to talk about the ideal client themselves. For me, I put in the struggle that they go through, because I think that's an important part of the value proposition. So it's not just, like, oh, I work with women coaches, but it's more like I work with women coaches who are struggling to blah, 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 right? So that, I think, is something that's really important. AI becomes your fastest path to go from that message to like a really broad range of content that can communicate things across different platforms, like, your blog, Facebook, which would sound one way, LinkedIn, which would sound another way, email, which would sound yet another way. So for me, this is really important. The value proposition becomes the seed. Every single piece of content that you create will lead back to your value proposition, which means that you're always going to have messaging that is on point. So letting AI generate the social media posts, your email subject lines, right? Pull your subject lines from the value proposition, right? When you want to do a hook, use AI to help you create those hooks, but coming from the value proposition. All right.
That's perfect. And that dovetails into my number 4, which is challenge AI and make them your skeptical prospect. So the person that has doubt. So don't ask, like when you got your value proposition, Crystal Lynn, don't go to AI and say, is this a good value proposition? Because it's going to just agree with you. I mean, we all have witnessed how agreeable and how it makes you feel so great and, pumps up your ego.
Supplicating.
Instead you want to say, you are my ideal prospect. You're interested, but you're skeptical. And then you want to ask it stuff like, and you put in your proposition.
Yeah.
And you ask it stuff like, where is this vague? What don't you believe? What sounds like every other coach? Because we don't want to sound like every other coach. What's in here that you don't understand? What questions does this create for you? There's all these things that you can ask it, and then it will help you by the information that it gives you. You can then have it help you narrow in or refine that value proposition so that you are standing out and being different from all the other people that do exactly what you do.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that is such a good addition, Dottie, 100% for sure. Let's get into, this is going to be number 4, right? Or was that number 5?
That was number 4 for me. Should be number 4 for you coming up.
Right. So for me, number 4 is to, okay. You can use AI to audit your existing website copy. And I got a little bit tripped up because I thought I used AI to create my website copy. I did for my website. But here's the thing. I curated the heck out of it. It took me days to come up with the copy on my website. It was lots and lots of churning and philosophizing and getting deeper and deeper into who I am as a service provider and as a leader. And the information that's there, I think, is excellent. But when you ask AI to edit or to audit your copy, you can see where the message might be fuzzy, or maybe it's speaking to the wrong client. So many people will talk about, um, being broke, and yet they don't want to attract broke people, like not people who can't afford to pay them. And so what I really like to do is make sure that all those contradicting references are not there. So you can use AI to audit your current homepage. Okay, what you can do is just copy and paste your homepage. You can the homepage, the About You page, or About Me page, your services page, and ask it to identify where the language is vague, where it's maybe focused too much on you rather than on the client, and where the transformation is vague and general and maybe just not clear, right? Ask it, and I know that it will give you it'll give you some feedback that you can use.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Excellent.
I want to add just a little bit to your number 4, because I am a website designer. One of the things that I have found helpful for my DIY customers is to use 2 different systems. So if you had ChatGPT help you write it, have Claude help you audit it.
Oh, such a good idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
And vice versa, or
Totally love
whatever
that.
other ones you're doing.
Such a good idea. That's a good addition. Yeah.
Yeah. So my number 5.
Wait, hold on. I would just say, because ChatGPT is kind of more soft and whimsical in this is my experience. You could have a totally different experience, but I found ChatGPT was very supplicating, very like whimsical, airy-fairy in its writing. Definitely letting Claude audit that and maybe edit that is a great idea. And Claude can be maybe a little bit too rigid sometimes, it's not great with that dream state that maybe you might want to, especially if you're a spiritual entrepreneur. Anyway, but please go ahead, Dottie, with your last one, number 5.
I do want to add one more thing to that before I go into number 5. And I did this the other day. There's a lot of people that, for whatever reason, they feel like they're betraying their AI if they go and use something else. Like they have this human thing.
Yeah.
And
I'm cheating on you, ChatGPT.
I'm cheating on you. But AI doesn't feel that way.
Right.
I ran out of tokens the other day in my Claude in the middle of a project. So I went over to Chat and I basically caught it up on what we were doing, and I had it do more brainstorming, because Chat does better with brainstorming. It just does. At least mine does. And then when I was ready to go back to Claude, I basically took my brainstorming and I put it into Claude and I said, hey, this is what I've been working on with this project. What do you think? And can you pull out what needs to be added into, whatever it is we were doing? And it came back and it said, this is a great brainstorming session. Here's what I took from it. Here's how we're going to change the template that you're working on and making. So these systems work really well together, and you get a better result by using both.
Yeah, for sure. I'm right there with you. I
Yeah.
do have both. Excellent, Dottie.
So my
Let's go on number
number 5
5. Yeah.
is very similar to, I think, what your number 3 was, and that's amplify. It's take the research, take the listening, take the spreadsheets that you've created with your sound bites and your, stories and all of that stuff. Have AI help you write for different things. So amplify your message, repurpose your message
Mhm.
however you wanna, however you wanna put it, but it can do, your website headlines, like you mentioned, your about page, your social posts, your emails, your LinkedIn bio. If you've never thought about that, update your LinkedIn bio if it's, like 5 years or more older. Podcast introductions, it can help you with video scripts, lead magnets, like literally everything.
Yeah.
And it keeps it
Mhm.
more on point and on messaging when you have one place that is your repository
Mhm.
for that. And I wanna throw out one more, like, tool I use, that
Hmm.
you may or may not have heard of. It's called Obsidian. It's free.
Hmm.
I have it connected to my odd cowork, like, database folder, and it allows me to use my laptop to fly down to California and participate in a workshop, and it lets me take all of this information with me,
Yeah.
so I can just plug it in wherever I'm at, whosever's computer I'm on. Well, I carry my own with me, but it allows you to basically pick up right where you left off and
Mhm.
not repeat stuff, not make it rebuild or redo things because that's wasteful, and we don't wanna be wasteful.
No, we don't, and we don't have to be wasteful anymore, but we do need systems. We
Yep.
do need systems. And Dottie, for my last one, okay, I'm gonna pick up where you left off. Um, Not where you left off. What I mean is, you just mentioned something similar to this. You just mentioned having it look at your bio on your website, like,
Mhm.
and kind of updating that or auditing that. And I like the idea, and this is something that I've really started doing a lot of, especially since I've started this live stream, but it's using AI to actually build the SEO stuff for whatever you're doing. So for me, with our description for today's episode, it's SEO rich, um, SEO optimized. But you can do that also with your bio,
Mhm.
and that can help you get discovered. It can help, um, it can also, and this is the thing. Yeah, let's see, do your SEO rich bio, and Google picks it up and it shows, starts showing your page to more people, or you put that same bio on your, at the end of your YouTube videos, and maybe you put it in Facebook, or you're doing something, you start using it around, and it's getting put out there. It helps for your SEO and helps you be found, yes, but I think it helps me see myself in ways that I hadn't thought about, which is like in terms of search terms, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a very interesting exercise. Um, yeah.
Here's another interesting exercise to put on top of that, Crystal Lynn, or to go with that. Go to Google or whatever search engine you so choose to use, and Google your name, and then in a separate one, Google your business name.
Mm,
Pay attention to what comes up because you might be shocked at what's one is coming up, but what isn't coming up. And then have AI help you fix that.
I am listening to that. Because, it's interesting. And this is so interesting. I'm glad you said it. I've never done it in this way before, Dottie. I've definitely Googled myself.
Mhm.
I'm very pleased with what I see. I've definitely Googled my business name. My business name, though, has also been around a long time, and I've done a lot to keep it out there. Can you give an example of what does not come up? Like, what do you mean by that? Like you said, what comes up and what does not come up? What do you mean?
So, a lot of people over time, like Crystal Lynn, I'm sure this applies to you because you've been in business a long time, so have I.
Yeah.
I'll see things from my marketing from 15 years ago that's no longer relevant, and I need to go change. That's the biggest thing because
Mhm.
search
Mhm.
engines and AI engines now, when they start seeing messaging that's different, they
Yeah.
get confused, and so they're not gonna recommend you because they're confused.
Mm.
And so there's a lot of times, especially if a business owner's been around a while, that you wanna make sure that what you're doing now is actually what is being represented in the
Mm.
search engines.
Ooh, I love that. That is very powerful
It is.
because, yes, I'm taking this on very, very strongly, especially right now as I'm going through my value proposition. And the very first question is, who am I? Who am I? Right? Meaning, who the business is. What is the business? Right? That's what the question is asking in the value proposition. So I really appreciate that. It is making me, when I'm working with people, I really insist that they first build their own name. And, a brand new coach who's focusing a lot on getting the right business name, I think that's a little bit of putting the cart before the horse. If you don't know how you help and you don't know quite yet what's what your true values are because you've run the business and you've uncovered the business, then maybe you don't want to try too hard at the beginning. Sometimes the things that the people are choosing for their business names are so very vague, and they don't tell us they don't communicate what the person is hoping that it communicates. So,
A good point in that is I really don't like the word transformational coach because it means nothing. What's the
right,
transformation going to be? And
right,
start there instead of labeling yourself or a life coach.
right,
They're so vague and
right. And
everybody's using it.
well, and that's the problem. And anyway, your name, Dotty Scott, Crystal Lynn Bell, these are not vague. They have one very powerful meaning. And so starting with that, I think, is really important. Now, my friend Dottie, we have come to the end of the spiritual business hour. We used every bit of that hour.
Can I leave your audience with a fun little thing that they can do with ChatGPT?
Sure. It's got to be within 1 minute because we
Yep.
are literally at the end. Go.
Go to ChatGPT and ask it to describe you as a color and just see what you get, and then take it one step further and say, "Now create my color palette." I did this last
Oh,
week. It was so fun. I posted, if you wanna see what mine is, posted it on Facebook.
I'm gonna look and then I'm gonna do. Thank you for sharing that, Dottie, and thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun.
Right on, and thank you all so much for watching. Remember to give the video a thumbs up, leave some kind of a reaction, leave a comment for us, and share it with your friends. Thank you so much. And we'll see y'all later. Bye for now. Mwah.
Bye-bye.